Welcome back. If it is joining us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories this hour. 2 bodies recovered and 3 others still missing after a boat overturned in Kaduna River. Parents of affected students demand explanation from school. Vice President Oshibajo clarifies approval of NNPC fund, says loan authorizations given to NNPC for joint venture financing. Our big story tonight focuses on the implementation of the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan of the President Buhari administration. And Israel announces decision to pull out of UNESCO hours after US withdrew from the world body. For more on our top stories and others, please visit our websites, channelstv.com and youtube.com/channelsweb. Log on to m.channelstv.com to watch us on your mobile device, or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. The Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You'll also have access to the Eyewitness feature, with which you can share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. Let's take a look at some of the pictures that you sent into our portal. We'll begin with this one. It's Cherry News from Wuse in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, where we have a picture showing the before and after look of a high-tension voltage box located opposite Airwave Hotel. Eyewitness reporter says the new look was given after the picture of the previous one was uploaded on Channels TV's Eyewitness portal. He is grateful to the station for reporting it and the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company for taking prompt action on the matter. The next picture is from a Moshebi area of Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, showing a makeshift bridge. Eyewitness reporter claims the main bridge, which was pulled down for reconstruction, has been abandoned for several months, and now the makeshift bridge is also on the verge of collapse. He says it's a busy route and the Kwara State government should come to their aid. We move on to this photo of a bad road, which our Eyewitness reporter says connects Ibadan in Oyo State to another city in Osun State. She wants the relevant authorities to fix it. Plus, we end with this image from Enugu State. It's a collapsed road in New Haven area. Eyewitness reporter alleges that this was a result of a recent downpour in the area and it's led to traffic and partial shutdown of businesses. He's begging government to come to their aid. Thank you for sending in those pictures. The World Bank says growth is rising in most developing and advanced economies, but there is need to rebuild resilience against overlapping challenges. At its press briefing in Washington, D.C., the bank outlined a number of solutions to deal with the potential future downturns, one of which is increased investment in human capital. Channels Television's business editor, Bosun Omofaye, reports.
The World Bank is concerned that the current growth in global economy and the markets are not well inclusive and impacting on women and young people. The World Bank chief, Jim Yong Kim, believes investments in affordable healthcare and education are part of human capital investments that must be scaled up as quickly as possible.
All countries need to invest more in their people. Last week I spoke at Columbia University where I explained why this is so critical, and I introduced an accelerated effort we're undertaking at the World Bank Group called the Human Capital Project that will help countries invest more and more effectively in their people.
For developing countries such as Africa, the World Bank says it is imperative to build hubs of stability from the continent's north all the way down.
We support governments. The public sector side of the World Bank Group supports governments to make reforms, and then the private sector side works with private investors to invest more. And what that does eventually is it frees up money to invest in human beings, and that's just what Egypt is doing. Now, we continue to be deeply engaged. We have a very large portfolio. The whole portfolio is about $8 billion. But growth, stability, and the reduction of inequality, better provision of social services is not just critical for Egypt, it's critical for the entire region.
On Nigeria, the World Bank chief believes progress has been made on Boko Haram insurgency, but advises more investments in human capital and laying foundation for a sustainable future economy.
I think Nigeria, of course, has suffered from the drop in the oil prices. I think things are just now getting better, but the conversation we need to have with Nigeria, I think, is in many ways related to the theme that I brought to the table just this past week, which is investment in human capital. Right? The percentage of GDP that Nigeria spends on healthcare is less than 1%. And despite the fact that there's so much turbulence in the northern part of the country and that there is the hit that was taken from the drop in the oil prices, Nigeria has to think ahead. And investing in its people, investing in the things that will allow Nigeria to be a thriving, rapidly growing economy in the future is what the country has to focus on right now. It can't rely just on oil prices going back up. It has to think, what are going to be the sources of growth in the future for Nigeria in what will surely be a more digitalized economy?
Next week, the World Bank says it plans to launch a multi-million-dollar initiative on women entrepreneurship financing in the United States. This is one initiative that forms a new direction of reducing inequality and including a global economy that leaves no one behind. Bosun Amafaye for Channels Television News.
Let's go over now to our business news editor, Bosun Amafaye, who is in Washington for more on the World Bank briefing. Hi, Bosun. What more happens today at the IMF World Bank discussions?
Well, quite a lot of discussions, and what the World Bank briefing was all about was just part of it, investing in human capital. But of course, what keeps resonating here is about how to bridge inequality gap around the world, how to invest more in women, in education, in healthcare, and social infrastructure that will make the global economic growth and financial market stability or progress that we're seeing become more inclusive and spread across borders. Those were the key discussions here. Of course, the press briefing by the G24 ministers just ended. Just saw Nigeria's finance minister, Kebbi Adeosun, pass now here from here. And all the discussion is about how to get central bank governors and finance ministers around the world to come up with policies that would help move people who are at the bottom of the pyramid into areas of growth and prosperity. Looking at China, for example, being able to grow millions of its people out of poverty into a billionaire brackets.
And Bosun, we had the World Bank chief say Nigeria has to think ahead. Any idea what he means by that?
I'm not sure I got that question very clearly. Could you please repeat that if possible?
Oh, what the World Bank chief said, which is the Nigeria needs to look ahead. We heard that in your report. He says we need to think ahead. Did he explain further what that means?
Oh, yes, the World Bank president, Jim, explains that we need to diversify the economy. That's basically what it means. We need to make sure that we don't depend on price of oil. And you heard him say we don't need to think that oil prices will go back up and sustainably up. We need to find a way to move the economy in a new direction that will make prosperity more for Nigerians. We've suffered so much from Boko Haram, but again, we need to invest in healthcare, 1% of our GDP, of our annual budget, and education as well. So the World Bank was emphasizing the areas that's been emphasized before. Nigeria needs to use what it has currently in terms of oil revenue, in terms of output from agriculture and borrowings, to build an economy that is totally different from where the country was coming from, so that Nigeria is prepared for the next bust that is going to happen. And that will happen. No one knows when, but right now, the world leaders and policymakers are saying, look, every country that is making some money, some either from borrowing or from commodity prices, will have to start investing in people, in human. The biggest asset you have is not oil, it's not gold, it's not agriculture. It is a human, the youths, the young people who will form the workforce of tomorrow, who will be in farming, in industries, in manufacturing, in digital economy. These are the people that the Nigerian government have to invest in, and that's the message from the World Bank and from this event.
Well, thank you, Bosun. I'm going to have to let you go now. I know you have many more meetings ahead of you, so have a great day. It's time to toss it over now to Ibrahim Adra in Abuja with more on the news at 10. Hi, Ibrahim.
Many thanks indeed, Amarachi. Now, the story is making the round that the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, is administering vaccines against the spread of monkeypox in the southeast. Is not true. What is true is that there are no vaccines yet to contain the spread of the disease, and the chief executive officer of the center explains that there is no relationship between his organization and the ongoing military operation in the southeast. Dr. Chikwe Hekwazo was speaking at a public hearing organized by the Senate Committee on Primary Health on the reported outbreak of monkeypox in some parts of the country. Now, recall that some parents in Delta and Anambra states started withdrawing their children from schools on Tuesday following reports that the army was administering immunization drugs suspected to be harmful. The army has since denied the claim, saying the medical outreach is a social responsibility program fashioned into the Operation Python dance in the southeast.
I want to state categorically, there's no monkeypox vaccination. Do not participate in any monkeypox. But there are other vaccines being delivered all the time to prevent diseases in our children, but nothing related to monkeypox. We're not carrying out. And as far as I know, there's no agency of the federal government that is doing this, civilian or military. Our absolute priority is to develop our public sector laboratory services, the labs to diagnose the diseases. This is our biggest strategic challenge. At the moment, the only lab that can make this diagnosis is the Africa Center for Genomics, which is a part of Redeemers University, which is a private sector laboratory, not for profit. There's no public sector lab in Nigeria at the moment that can make the diagnosis of monkeypox. So at the moment, we have a total of 33 cases. 17 are in Bayelsa. Out of that 17, we think that we have monkeypox within it, but we haven't confirmed any yet. Across the other cases from the rest of the country, we think will ultimately not be monkeypox, but let's wait until we have the results to be very clear on that.
From the issue of monkeypox vaccine in the southeast, we go through the south-south, where Vice President Professor Emil Shibajo says President Muhammad Buhari has fulfilled his promise to invest heavily in the Niger Delta and ensure peace and prosperity among the people. Professor Shibajo was speaking during the official flag-off of the Boni-Bodo road construction in Bonny Island, where he said the 120 billion naira project split between the federal government and the NLNG is the latest in the series of infrastructure partnerships going on in the country.
It is no secret that at one time in our very recent past, Nigeria earned in excess of $100 a barrel of crude, yet significant projects like the Boni-Bodo Bridge remained undone. Today we're earning probably 60% less than in the past 5 years, but we're spending the highest ever amount on capital projects. The Buhari administration is proving that the clear advantage of good governance is that you can do more with less. In his inaugural speech on May 29, 2015, President Buhari promised to invest heavily in the Niger Delta and to ensure peace and prosperity. Today is therefore not only for the flag-off of an important road project, it is also for the commemoration of the promise kept. The Bodo-Boni Bridge and Road project is a public-private partnership arrangement in which the federal government and the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Company, NLNG, will each bear 50% of the 120.6 billion naira that it will cost to complete the road and bridge project.
And when the news at 10 returns, shareholders of PZ Cussons Nigeria PLC approved a dividend payout of over 1.985 billion naira. Do stay with us.